You know, people get up every day, they do the same thing, tell themselves they're going to change their life one day, and they never do. I'm going to change mine.
What would you do if you weren't afraid? I love thinking about that when I'm thinking about big life decisions. Like, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And it's usually like the big one, the bigger thing that I really want to do, but I'm afraid to do it. It's like, that's what I should do. Like, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail?
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's the same issue with children. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. And you might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking.
Yeah,
and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
If you play it safe, you're going to exist. You only get to live when you take risk. Ain't no living in safety. You can't be the man if you don't jump. You can't be top dog unless you fight the other dog. Ain't nobody finna give you the championship. You don't win the title without coming to the fight. You don't win the fight without training.
Following your dreams is a lonely, solitary, scary, dangerous pursuit. You can't wait for somebody to think you can do it. And you got to be willing to risk everything to become that seed of what you believe is in there. You got to be fearless. You got to be relentless.
Risk used to drive me right up the wall. I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I better not try. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive.
You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable scenarios, okay? If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. Let me say it again. If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. As a man, you have to understand that we as men, we do better in environments where we are uncomfortable, okay? You put pressure on a rock, it turns into a diamond.
You gotta let go of that stuff from the past because it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you choose to be now.
The comfort zone is dangerous. When you're comfortable, you are at most danger. The comfort zone is somewhere you should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied. Anybody ever tell you, hey, look, you know what? Just be satisfied with what you got. Don't believe them. Get them away from you. You should never be satisfied with what you got. Because the attempt to get more makes you into something better. Don't let anybody tell you, hey man, you should just be happy with, no!
Nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life, right? Nobody knows what you are. Like even sometimes you don't really even know what you are. You got to take your shot. As much as you want people to agree and you want the people around you to be supporting your dreams and all, it's not going to be like that all the time. You got to do it alone. And people will help you, and when you get the ball rolling, people will jump on. But if you don't believe, nobody else is going to believe.
But one of the things that really motivates me, or one of my most powerful motivational frames, is thinking about the person that I want to become as the destination. And thinking like, I want to be bulletproof. I want to be bulletproof in these ways. I want to be bulletproof in my marriage. I want to be bulletproof in my business, etc. And I think about that man, whoever I want him to be. Like we said, hell is when you look at who you could have been and realize that you're not that person. And then I think, if I were to make that man what would I put that man through to make him who he is? Like, it wouldn't be easy times. It wouldn't be quick wins. It wouldn't even be easy wins. It would be the toil and the struggle of achieving and reaching for things that are right out of grasp, that are right above my threshold, and continuing to do that to like lift the weight, to build the muscle, to break it down and do it over and over again, because like that's what creates the character traits that are the man that I want to be. And so when I'm going through those like really harder times, I like to think of like looking in my mental mirror of like, I'm making you. I'm not there yet, but I'm making you.
See, look, one thing I want you to promise me is that no matter how long it takes, keep going. No matter how much it hurts, keep going. So you was placed on this earth for a reason. You weren't meant to be average. You were meant to excel. You gotta understand that this grind is meant to make you who you're supposed to be, a dog. A little grind ain't never hurt nobody. Stop being soft. Let's embrace it. If you go through that fire, you're gonna come out real cold. That's what we want.
So I wanted to project myself forward to age 80 and say, okay, now I'm looking back on my life. I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And you know, I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having wanted, trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. When I thought about it that way, it was an incredibly easy decision.
When you get older, you think about things. My estimate historically, 80% of the time it ends up in the can like Johnny Shack. No risk, no reward.
Did I take enough risk? Did I put myself out there enough?
You definitely didn't.
What's that?
You definitely did not. And here's how I know it. At least, again, one man's point of view. I'm not sure anybody is taking enough risk from 20 to 30. Yeah. It is the most interesting thing that I've been thinking about, which is it is never more practical to be disproportionately risky than from 22 to 30, yet everybody goes the other way because now they're the real world and it's time to prove something to their parents, to themselves, to everybody else, and everybody goes conservative.
And that's when I realized that there's two ways to see the world. Some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the thing that prevents them from getting the thing that they want.
This next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. This is the time to realize that you have a 5-year window, and it's 3 for some, it's 8 for others, but this is a 5-year window for you to attack the life that you want to win.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
This is why I'm a big believer in this, is that when you are starting out, I think you got to find the thing that's the pain. And like, pain motivates significantly faster and stronger than pleasure does. Like, people are like, no, passion's the right way. It's like, point a gun at a family member, all of a sudden, 10 out of 10 motivation. Pain. And so like, I think people should use their pain more.
It wouldn't kill you to try. Spending a long time getting a life you would actually want is about 1,000,000 times better than getting a quick turnaround time on a life that you'll forever be disappointed with. Playing it safe seems just fine until you get to the last moments of your life and realize all the potential that you threw away and can never get back. And I will never know from experience what that feels like, but the thought of that realization is haunting.
What matters is, at some point, you have to identify what you want to do, and you've got to become the best in the world at that, period. Not really good, you've got to be the best in the world. So your thing in life, at something, you've got to become the best in the world at it. And if you're not prepared to go in with that mentality, you're never going to get anywhere. I'm speaking to all of you out there that want to do something unbelievable.
So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside only what we've seen. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. And until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become.
So you're always trying to come up with reasons that you don't have to do it today. But if you're building the muscle either way. You're either building the muscle that says, I do what I say, I keep the commitments that I make, or you're building the muscle that says, I make excuses, I don't do what I say, I can't be counted on, right? And so when we think about discipline, it's really about like, what promises are you going to keep? And the tricky thing is you're keeping promises to yourself that nobody even knows that you made, right? It's not like, hey, you made this commitment. If I don't write this book by this time, like, I have to do this embarrassing thing, or, then I'll retire. You're not really putting your ass on the line in that sense. But you've said to yourself you're going to do this thing, and building that muscle is really important.
You have to take chances in life. If you don't take chances in life, you'll never have the life God has for you. Life is about risk. If you play it safe in life, you ain't gonna have much of a life. If you play it safe, you won't have much of a life. Life is risk. It take courage to pursue your dream. I just did it. It cost me everything, but eventually, God is very good, man, when he sees you take a leap of faith. He supplies you everything you need. Now, it's gonna cost you something, but most people are not willing to pay what it costs to go after your dream, because you're gonna have to hurt a little bit.
So at those times where you're questioning if you have anything left, know a day from then, a week from then, a month from then, a year from then, you will never remember the discomfort of the pain. You will always remember the pride of the accomplishment. That lives on. That's why pain is temporary. Pride is forever, guys. You give it your all, you get it all. Tenfold.
What do you think all success starts with?
Well, the fast answer is mindset. Going back to the only belief that matters, you said it. It's the way you act is ultimately all that matters, and the way you act follows what you allow yourself to believe. Maybe a better way to say it is what you choose to believe. Mm-hmm. So if you choose to believe that your energy and efforts will result in more skill set, then you will actually put energy and effort into getting that, which means you actually will get the skill set. But if you think, well, my talent and intelligence are fixed, so no matter how much I work, I'm never going to get better, right? I can't be a fast pig. Mm-hmm. And if you don't think that putting time and energy into it will yield anything, then you won't put time and energy into it, and you thusly won't get the skills. So, and if you don't have the skills, then you can't do the things other people can do, and so people just get stuck because they don't have the only belief that matters. So they don't put the time and energy. And so that's like where everything starts is, are you putting the time and energy into getting better, yes or no?
Everyone thinks you're crazy until it works. And so, I mean, if you think of the outcome as the trump card, then all of the pain and suffering that you lead up to that point, if you're just, I'm trying to think of an appropriate saying, I was going to say balls deep certain, that no matter what, you will die or you will get there, then the likelihood that all of the things that you've done up to that point will then be justified in retrospect is super high. And I actually see that as super compelling, as a thing to latch onto in harder times.
Seconds ago, pain, that's just almost like excruciating. Seconds later, it like flows out of you, like you just pull the plug on your sink and all the water and all the pressure just goes. It's a greater feeling than what the pain was. I mean, the pain you felt doing that, man, is overridden with pride. And when you pull that plug and all the water goes out and all the pain leaves, because what's left there after all the water leaves is more capable of you. More capable. So don't let the pain rob you of your potential, guys. Don't let what you can't do in the moment interfere with what you know you can do. I mean, don't let the pain can rob you of your belief of what you can be. Because your body hears everything your mind says. And anytime you have any kind of discourse, or you can be subject to the discomforts of the situation, your body remembers that, and your body's just a messenger. about the purity right here. It just delivers whatever this says. If you start thinking you can't do it and that pain's like, oh, it feels, I can't do the pain. You think that body's going to tell your brain, the boss of the world, hey man, no, we can do it. Bullshit. It's like a little bitch your body is. It's just like, okay, we're done then. Your body hears everything your mind says. Don't even give it a chance to think that kind of shit.
My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
The reason I'm gonna get what I want out of life is because, unlike most, I'm willing to have nothing in the moment. Of course, it feels worlds better to have something right now, but unfortunately what most people really want is not what's available right now. Those people with the best relationships, the best health, the best careers, it's because they were completely unwilling to settle for anything less than that. And you might think I'm overly optimistic because most people don't get those great outcomes, but I'm not most people, and you don't have to be either.
Most of us, we live in a box, and we don't want to go outside that box at all, ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. What we do is we shackle our mind. We are a prisoner in our own mind that this is all I can do. This is all I'm good at. What people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself.
What if it's a mistake? It's a mistake. Rest assured. What do you know? You're going to stumble around, right? And what's going to happen is this. You're going to not stay in stasis. You're not going to wander around in circles. And I see people like that. They said, well, I never knew what to do, and now I'm 40. It's like, that's not so good. That's not so good. And you might say, well, and there is literature too that suggests that people are a lot more unhappy when they look back on their lives about the things they didn't do than they are about the mistakes they made while they were doing things.
We are training kids and people to be soft in a world that continuously gets harder. And it doesn't correlate. Like that guy talking about the tear gas with the SEALs. Is that necessary? I don't know. But what is necessary is you have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. And we don't do that. I'm not trying to send a message of run 200 miles, be the baddest motherfucker in the world, but be tough. You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations and get better.
We actually have to re-embrace risk on a personal level and on a societal level. We have to take the risk of freely exchanging ideas because that's where innovation happens. We have to take the risk of being able to invest and reap the benefits of that risk. In a personal relationship, getting married is a risk. It is foregoing a current benefit for a future gain. Every decision you make is a risk. The biggest risk of all, of course, is the decision to be free and to take responsibility for your own choices. That's a major risk. But if you take that risk, you become a better and a stronger human being, a more contributing human being, a more valuable human being. You feel better about yourself. When we discard risk, we discard meaning. When we are coddled, we discard our own ability to be a fully adult human being. And here's the dirty little secret. No matter how much we try to discard the risk, you can't actually discard risk. It's inevitable. Because reality entails risk. We can choose to live free rather than coddled. It'll make us better people, more open people, more understanding people. And when we do that, I think that not only will we be saving the country and saving the civilization, we'll be saving ourselves.
But no matter what challenges or setbacks or disappointments you may encounter along the way, you will find true success and happiness if you have only one goal. There really is only one, and that is this: to fulfill the highest, most truthful expression of yourself. Theologian Howard Thurman said it best. He said, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive.
There's no hacks, bro. It's you against you. You against you. And if you misunderstand that, you have a real problem. A real problem. I can understand you misunderstand me running down the street, shirt off, fuck this, yeah, I can get it, I get it. If you misunderstand what I'm saying right now today, the problem is you, and you don't want to fix it.
Take charge of your life. Take charge of your time. Take charge of your resources. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family. That's not a requirement of society, but you must make it a requirement of yourself. Society doesn't require that you build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through. That's not a requirement of society. It's a requirement you impose on yourself.
Do things worth doing. And I think a lot of it is coming down to making sure that you take the few precious seconds that we have to do the few things that are worth doing for the rest of your life. They see it as a pure disadvantage. And so you can flip the fact that you have nothing going for you with you have nothing to lose. And that means that you can take lots of risks very quickly and end up in the exact same position you are, which is nothing. And so if you eliminate downside, it should decrease your action threshold, meaning you should be able to do more things faster rather than do fewer things because you don't have a great life or things going for you. And so I think if people flip that, a lot more people would take action because they actually realize the advantage of their position.
Don't be scared to fail, and know wherever you are right now is not who you are, it's just where you are, you know? And if you fall, man, fall forward. Don't fall on your ass. You know, when they say it can't be done, you know, tell them you haven't tried yet. You know, it can't be done by someone else. But I can't say that because I haven't tried it. Then you go try.
Those who can do, those who can't talk about those who can. I'm gonna say it again. Those who can do, those who can't talk about those who can. Yeah. Now, can you? Or can you not? Or you just want to sit on the sideline and talk about other people? Or can you step up?
How do you want to live? Stop just waking up like an accident. What do you want? And then once you find out what you want, spend the rest of your natural life waking up and going after it.
I think most people feel really lonely when you want something that doesn't currently exist. And so some people call that dreams, some people call that goals, whatever it is, you're trying to pull something from your mind into reality and you want it done a certain way. And if it's not done that way, it's not what you imagined. And so people on the outside will throw stones and call you names that they think will change your behavior and get you to stop. And the more I have been the person trying to pull things into reality, the more I've tried to weather and build kind of defenses against those things so that when those stones get hurled at you by being called a control freak or by saying you micromanage things or that you have incredibly high standards, the answer is yes, because I want it done right the first time. Because either way, we're going to, if you have enough will, it's going to get done the way that I want it to get done regardless, and it'll be less painful if we just do it right the first time, because we will still have to do it, and you may have to do it 3 or 4 more times, but eventually you will just succumb to the fact that we're going to do it this way. And I think all of the great things that have happened for humanity have been from one man or woman who had an idea and just wouldn't let people shake it from them.
In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk. And I really think that that's true, right? I mean, a lot of people, I think that, you know, whenever it comes to, whenever you get yourself into a position where you have to make some big shift in direction or do something, you know, there are always people who are going to point to the downside risks of that decision. And locally, they're maybe right? I mean, for any given decision that you're going to make, there's upside and downside. But in aggregate, if you are stagnant and you don't make those changes, then I think you're guaranteed to fail.
So many people do this. They're talking to you on who they want to be. They're lying to you. And they walk away. I've done it so many times. You walk away like, God, man, why can't I just tell him the truth? Why the hell can I just tell him the truth? You know how good it feels for me now to look at you in your eye? And man, I see. Because women won't get this. Women will not get this. Man to man, that man You look another man in the eye and you know that everything you're saying is real. And it comes from a real working place, something that you earned. It's the best feeling in the world.
You can say that actually happened.
Yes.
Like I know with certainty what I'm saying actually happened.
Actually happened. Who I am and who I say I am. No more lies. No more skirting the truth. No more bullshit. And that is worth every dime I've ever made in my life.
Because if you live in the future, you're anxious. If you live in the past, you're depressed. If you live in the now, you're happy.
That's how you do it, guys. You commit to something. You tell everyone about it. And no matter what, they honk and cheer for you. They get behind you. Instead of being one of those subjective nature losers in life that beats you down because you're doing better than them and you're reminding them of their failures. And here he starts. Get the mind right, the body will follow. Tell the world, get a goal, achievable goal. And then day by day by day, you start to do that goal to make it the reality, guys. It's not guesswork. It's a science of intensity. And if you don't have the intensity, don't come in.
When I was like 17 years old and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, as you guys know, I created my Twitch account in 2019. I had one viewer for an entire year. That one viewer was my dad.
Imagine when you're older and your grandkids say to you, "Granddad, tell me about what it was like when you were young." And you say, "I didn't really do much, to be honest, because I was worried about what other people would think of me. I never took my shirt off because I hated the way I looked. I didn't start that business because I was scared it might fail." Just think about how silly that would sound. You only get one go around at this thing. Blink and you'll miss it. Crack of the whip and then you're gone. So make it worth it.
Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story, who you choose to be.
And you won't necessarily succeed at everything the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who've had the most failures. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, her first Harry Potter book was rejected 12 times before it was finally published. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He lost hundreds of games and missed thousands of shots during his career. But he once said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed." These people succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let them show you what to do differently the next time.
An easy productivity hack. Instead of spending time getting in the mood to work, just start working. Confront the work. People think they need perfect conditions to start, when in reality, starting is the perfect condition.
You know, somebody called me yesterday and asked me a very simple question. He said, "Pat, you know, what do I do when I just don't feel like showing up to work today? What do I do?" And I said, "Look, we've heard this saying before. You know, you got to show up whether you feel like it or not. But I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's what the great ones do. I think it's even past that. You got to raise your standards to a whole different level. And I'll tell you what I think it is. You not only have to show up, you have to show up when you don't feel like it, and you have to want to perform and psych yourself out to be in the zone and be confident and excited in the mood and, you know, figure out a way to psych yourself out, fool yourself into being positive, fool yourself into becoming such a high vibration type of an energy where all of a sudden you're starting to perform and then you start believing you're excited, then you completely forgot you were not in the mood. And entrepreneurs who do that are the ones who eventually win their own championships of business. They win their own academies, Oscars, World Series, Super Bowl, whatever you want to call it. But you not only have to show up, you got to show up at the highest possible level and gain value as well as bring value to everybody around you. Show up today and show up with the most incredible energy.
But most